93 Boxing, I'm back with a quick video. John David Jackson, he was offered to go to Andre Ward's camp to help Andre Ward to beat Sergey Kovalev. Now, that kind of tells you immediately, first of all, I don't actually think that Team Ward believes that they won the first fight. They genuinely won the first fight. I don't think they believe that. Looking at Andre Ward's facial expression at the end of the fight, he felt like he could have lost that fight as well. And the fact that you want John David Jackson, who's training Sergey Kovalev, right? He's been training Sergey Kovalev for a while. It shows that A, you want Sergey Kovalev to be at a disadvantage by removing his trainer that he's been working so well with. And B, you want some of that stuff that John David Jackson has been giving. You pretty much don't see Virgil Hunter. I mean, he sees Virgil Hunter as a good trainer, but he still wants Sergey Kovalev's trainer. He clearly believes that Virgil Hunter probably isn't good enough to beat Sergey Kovalev, like use Andre Ward to beat Sergey Kovalev, or maybe he has some doubts in his mind, man. I feel like that kind of shows me that Andre Ward or Team Ward is kind of doubting themselves. Who does that? Like, I mean, how often does that happen? Like in a rematch, I'll try to get your coach. Andre Ward took his time to take this rematch, man. He took his time. He didn't win the fight. He didn't win the first fight. It was close. But he didn't win the first fight. And yeah, man. Andre Ward can be a little bit more cocky than what people think. People like to see him. See, he doesn't make a lot of noise in boxing, right? He be making a little bit of noise with Kovalev and shit. He doesn't make too much of a noise. He's not this huge pay-per-view name. He's not a Canelo. So, but he's a name in boxing. And he's an accomplished fighter. But he doesn't... You would think, right, this guy who doesn't make a lot of noise in boxing will be a bit more humble. Because that's what happens, right? To make a lot of noise, you have to have a little bit of arrogance in you, or something about you in your personality that people hate. Adrian Broner, Floyd Mayweather Jr. And Canelo Alvarez seems more humble than Andre Ward. And Canelo Alvarez is a bigger name. Obviously, he's a Mexican fighter. He's got that ginger hair, makes him more distinctive and shit. But Andre Ward's not a huge name, and he's very cocky to a certain extent. He can be very rude, actually. Like, I don't know, man. I personally thought he's a good fighter. Maybe he's just cocky during the fight, but I don't know, man. Sometimes he comes across as really cocky, and people don't realize that. I have no problem with someone coming across as cocky, but it's kind of interesting how this guy can be this cocky and still not end up with a huge fan base. I'm not hating on him. I'm just stating. This fight, Andre Ward versus Sergey Kovalev, this fight will be another good fight. Few things that Andre Ward and Sergey Kovalev did wrong. Sergey Kovalev got tired in the first fight, which he admits. He admits that he got tired, so I'm assuming that Sergey Kovalev will be better conditioned in this fight. Will have a better endurance. Probably will have more steam on his punches, and be able to move around a lot better with more energy in the later rounds. What seems from Sergey Kovalev, he was like, he basically said he overtrained in the first fight. That's what happened, which sounds like an excuse, but at the same time, he's coming in a rematch, and all he has to do is perform better than he did last time. And all those people that are saying it's excuses or not, it might be excuse or not, but people forget it quickly. Sergey Kovalev was actually doing pretty well, and Andre Ward it was very hard for him to get past Sergey Kovalev's jab. Sergey Kovalev's a better long-range fighter, long distance, he keeps it better at the distance. He's got pretty good speed, and Sergey Kovalev's got good boxing ability. It's hard for Andre Ward to get past the jab. Now, Andre Ward was making better adjustments as the fight went on. But, the thing is, the advantage for Sergey Kovalev in the second fight will be, obviously, he probably won't be tired. Or if he is tired, then that's a bit fucked up. I'll make a video talking shit about him then. But Because he's saying, the way he's saying is like as if he was tied in the first fight, so he better not be tied in the second fight, because it sounds like he's making excuses to many people. So if he might not be tired in this fight, and he will know a little bit. He probably use more jabs. He probably use a lot more jabs, and that's probably why he was tired. He couldn't use the jab. He had great success with the jab, and even though Andre Ward made adjustments, he couldn't make too much of an adjustment. Like he made an adjustment with his jab just a little bit, but he couldn't make too much of it, and he was still getting hit with the jab throughout the fight. Bit less in the later rounds, but still, and yeah, that's the advantage. Sergey Kovalev will probably be better on his feet. He does have better foot speed. But the good thing about Andre Ward is he's an adjustment-making fighter, and Sergey Kovalev's not going to be too much different in terms of how he fights. Yeah, his endurance might be better, but he won't be too much more different in the second fight because he's not really... I mean, everyone fights the way they do, right? So Andre Ward will probably be able to adjust a lot better because he has experience with Sergey Kovalev in the first fight. So he has 12-round experience, professional, full-fledged fighting experience against Sergey Kovalev. So adjusting in this fight will be a lot quicker. And because of that, because a lot of people, right, so Andre Ward won most of the, I would say more majority of the later rounds in the fight. Although it was pretty competitive. It was like 50-50, but like Andre Ward won more than half of that. Thing is, if he starts doing that, so let's say the way he was adjusted in the second half of the fight, if he continues that into the rematch from round 1 and all the way to round 12, he could win. And there's a chance of him doing that because he's already adjusted to Sergey Kovalev, right? So that's the advantage of Andre Ward. And, obviously there was that fear of power, which did drop Andre Ward. But obviously that, not fear necessarily, but, it's always a little bit, you get nervous. And I'm fairly sure Andre Ward will go into the fight a little bit more confident and a little bit less nervous of Kovalev's power. So that will be Andre Ward's advantage. But Sergey Kovalev, as I said, he will be less tired. And Sergey Kovalev might actually... He also said he had respect for Andre Ward in the fight. But like now he's going to pretty much show no respect, I think. That's what he's trying to say. It might be true, man. Sergey Kovalev might just beat the fuck out of Andre Ward, but at the same time, this is a good fight, man. This is a good fight. I want to see how it goes on. The fact that Andre Ward's team tried to get John David Jackson shows in my head that Andre Ward's team might not be as confident. Plus, he took his time to get this rematch, right? He pretended like he might not even fight Kovalev in the rematch. He might just retire. And you know what? Because of that, it makes me lean towards Kovalev to get the win. I was leaning towards Andre Ward initially because he been with Kovalev and therefore he's the adjustment-making fighter, right? He's the better adjustment-making fighter compared to Kovalev. And therefore, because he's already adjusted to Kovalev, within the first 2 rounds, I was thinking Andre Ward will start winning the fight against Kovalev in the rematch. But because of the way that he tried to get John David Jackson in his corner, it makes me think Team Ward is not confident in them getting the win. Let me know what you think. 93 Boxing, I'm out.